Hello and welcome, I'm Pheasant, and today I'm going to be taking on Habsburg 6 with Roots, and this is a run that I was just attempting, and I messed up, because I always, well, oh wait, not always, I often forget that a Cascade that is also meeting this irreparable damage condition instantly loses, especially on a solo board, and I've forgotten that a number of times now. Habsburg definitely not one of my more familiar adversaries. But it was an interesting game actually. But I think I don't like posting games where where I'm clearly playing wrong and strategizing incorrectly. It was interesting because I had sweep early, which is quite easy to threshold, and got very blessed. Um, Very blessed invaders. We kind of skipped early builds quite nicely. So I'm just going to try again on the same map and see how it goes. I was kind of uh, saw on the subreddit someone saying they were struggling with this matchup, and I could see why. It's a tricky matchup, and I'm far from feeling like I can give any definitive advice with this one. It is a really interesting matchup though, because you really have to use the well, you don't have to, I suppose, but I found that when I have beaten this, and I have beaten it a few times, it is about using vitality effectively, because it really does. It just, it's just great. On H board, we start here, which is interesting as well. Starting on the coast does have a different texture to it. It's all salty out here. Because normally you'd be starting inland, but this blight here has made that happen. But yeah. Also want to thank my regular commenters. It's something I keep meaning to do, and I think I did remember on one video, but I'm going to do it again. So thanks so much. I really appreciate your comments. Right. So this is somewhat annoying because they've gone in with our blight. They'll build a town and drag one in. So we need to deal with a 5 attack ravage. So I could just be placing presents with that in mind to use with Entwine. This feels like we could just put a vitality down to deal with it, and we do have adjacent presence here, so we can go in there turn 1. So I think I will go with this. It feels a bit silly to use a vitality to deal with this smaller ravage though. However, it feels worthwhile. Okay, so this is the only plant card we've been offered. Call to isolation though. That could be useful here. Of course, it won't deal with the massive swarms of Habsburgs that you're often dealing with, but if you could push a couple of towns out. Also 0 cost, and because we've gone with the vitality, we are somewhat broker than usual. I love Metamorphosis. I think it's one of my favourites. And I can see the use of being able to deliberately put blight down to this adversary. This is some nice fast sphere generation. We could use it in here, except it won't be quite enough. Except actually, it will drag this town in, so there won't be an adjacent town, so it will only be a 3 damage ravage, so it would be enough. It means that this vitality token on the coast would kind of persevere for a turn, which I think is actually pretty relevant. This here could actually be an opportunity to put down a couple of blight. Interesting. Dangerous rearranging of mics there. Let's go with this. We'll have our vitality, and I'll put a presence in here. I think. Yeah, it's a fun matchup. I'd give it a recommend. A fun puzzle. Okay, so I think it's nice to just be putting down vitality tokens. We'll see where this explorer is. Okay, so the jungle build, and they drag the town in. Oh, I think I miscounted that already. Good job, Pheasant. We'll leave this in with the beast in case the beast wants to generate a fear for us. And okay, there's a chance I want to forget one of these, so I'll do these things first. So we remove a town, and we can prevent this build. I mean, they'll still gather a town in there if there is one, but that's fine. Given that we might choose to counterattack in here, I'll drag this to Hahn in. Okay, so we've done our N8s now. So we have sand. Okay, yeah, this is a very clearly a good place to put a vitality token because it's coastal, which means it's definitely coming up in stage 2. And then we can boon. We don't have any broken presence, so we don't get to add any. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting collection of mages. Irresistible Call is interesting. Is it something we can potentially threshold? How much? We only start with the 1 air card, and we would need to play 3 powers to actually threshold, and it's 6 energy. I think it might just be a bit expensive for us. Is it time? Is it time for Savage Transformation? I actually really like these cheaper major powers. But the opportunity cost for most spirits of taking a major is so high that taking a cheap one is rarely what you want. That's why I like a lot of the late. One of the reasons I like a lot of the newer spirits is that they've often have the opportunity to gain so many majors that you can take these and be happy about it. Hey, what about Wounded Wilds? Did we already get an extra beast, or did I just imagine that? I think I might have imagined that. I think I just imagined it. This is interesting. The 3rd plant is on our tracks, though that won't be on our tracks until the late game. And what does it do without Threshold? Not a whole hell of a lot, really. It will... But Badlands are pretty valuable. And Vanish Softly is a good one. Against Habsburgs, the chance of them having this many invaders are pretty good. Again, it's air, so it's not really going to be easy to threshold, so we would really be looking at it for this. And it is an easy way for us to remove cities, but we're kind of good at removing cities once we're at Terror level 3 anyway. We can just use Radiant and Hallowed Grove. Yeah, not a straightforward choice, honestly. There's part of me that's tempted just to squeak out a few more beasts onto the board. Is that valuable? I don't know if it is into this adversary. Not particularly. Yeah, not great picks. I suppose we can also use this a bit like we use our Gather Explorer. But what would I forget? I don't want to forget either of these. I feel like in all of these cases I'm forgetting a more useful to us card for this opportunity. You know, this Dark Tangled here will defend there and preserve our Vitality token. Not that anything will die on the counter. We might be moving house next turn anyway. There are no adjacent towns, unless the event puts one there, I suppose. So we probably want to move house and use this. Though this is more worrying. This is a 4, 5, 6, 7 damage ravage. Yeah, these aren't solutions. I suppose this would be, but it's too expensive. This might be a good cascade to allow. It's 4, 5, 6, 7. So we could just have this as getting some blight on the board for the sake of making the escalation a little bit less severe. And maybe for Wounded Wilds, but we're far from being able to afford it. Yeah, I think this might even be just don't bother with these. I think I will move house. Maybe to here. Though here actually has good inland adjacencies. I still don't favour Radiant. Some events bring this back for us. Yeah, we'll go with Wounded Wild. We'll see. Okay, so if there are no adjacent towns, so we can move house and counterattack with Dark Tanglewood. So we'll do that. We could just Yeah, so this here is probably gonna cascade. And the thing is, this is 4, 5, 6, 7. One buff damage, and that's just loss. We just lose. Oh, that's rank. Truly rank. So we could just go with a very disappointing looking turn and go Dark Entangled in Swine and move house. That feels terrible. That feels just awful. We would at least get a counterattack over here that will kill a town. And we would generate a bit of fear. Yeah, let's see what minor powers we get offered. We are going to move house. Okay, well, these are at least good cards. Sap is the obvious pick. It's very off element though. And we won't get to use lure very often because the board will probably get very congested. And if it has got congested, kind of got very clear, then I don't know. The value of lure, I think, it's not really there. So I think we picked sap. This might push us more towards going plays. And the house move. So we Dark Entangled's in here. We could just put a safety sap in there. At least it costs us 0 energy. And are we going plays this early without the energy? That seems wild and reckless. But we do have plenty of 0 cost things. And nothing exciting in terms of majors. Am I feeling reckless? I think I might be. Okay, we're going to set up house in here because there's already a town in there. I think. So we'll do it. And we'll move here. So we've already got the sacred site. So we'll get to do our innate stuff. And we'll use this sap in here just to reduce the odds of insta-loss. Because we don't like just losing. Okay, during the next Ravage, increase the total damage. So yeah, we would have just lost. Marvellous. And get a fear there. Lovely stuff. And we do get an extra Dahan. So in here... Oh, so we are going to lose a Dahan in here. So I guess we'll just add another one in there. Okay, and then we are gathering... Explore into land with 2 or more invaders. Do we have a relevant gather? Not really. I suppose we could gather this one. Oh no, there's not 2 or more invaders. Let's gather them to the coast. Even with the disease that might kind of just take it out. So we have this ravage here. And this didn't cascade. Oh, because we took the Explorer out. Oh my god. Pheasant, you need to sort it out. Okay. Alright, so Habsburgs are escalating to add a town. So my cascade didn't happen because I can't remember numbers. So we have only got... So we are going to be adding 2 extra towns. And everything's happening in sand. So maybe we can't get around. I don't think we've got anywhere cute to do this. I suppose given sand's coming up twice in a row, maybe if we don't just have them all in here. So we'll put 1 in here. And 1 in here. Sands into sands. We don't have a ravage there though. Which feels pretty blessed. And we can gather a Dahan. I think I'll just gather in a Dahan for the sake of event benefits. Don't like having lone Dahan, so I guess I'll gather this one in here. And so, Ravage into build. This feels very blessed, but I've had blessed looking runs against Habsburgs before, and they've gone terribly. Okay, so we've got a very nice... This is a very obvious place to just stick down another thingy token. So I think we are going to reclaim. And I wonder if we're going to be moving house again. This is a 0 range presence placement, so I don't actually have any sacred sites apart from this one. So I think I'll make a sacred site over here. And am I really going plays? Really? Is that really happening? This is a 3, 5, 8, 10 damage ravage. I think the plays also just lets us squeak this in. I think that's worth something. The thing is, we're not really doing anything else, so yeah, let's do this. Let's look at another major. We might get something that's a bit more valuable. And I mean, we do have the air, so we could actually just put a defend in here in case something bad happens. I guess the trouble with that is that we're kind of forcing ourselves to reclaim, potentially. There is a chance that a town will get dragged in there. However, this town will get dragged in, so we're just kind of forcing ourselves to reclaim, which I think might be a mistake. I think we're better just not playing this, and maybe playing this for the fear, but then we're down to 0 energy, which is a frankly pathetic amount of energy. But it's fine. I think it's advancing the game, and it will mean we get to do a little bit more at home, a bit more housework is open to us. So the defend only does anything in jungle, so okay. This is quite interesting. Forgetting a power card to gain some energy. We could forget Wounded Wilds. It's not really doing anything for us. I think I favour hanging on to both of these defends. And the extra energy means that we would have 4 energy next turn. And we are looking at a major. I think I want to keep our presence on. We're likely to go into Blighted Island. So I think I will forget Wounded Wilds. So we'll leave behind that which restrains us. And we'll gain some energy. Oh, I get to move my presence as well. Okay. Well, we could remove the requirement for air by having a presence in with these Dahan. That also helps us with events. So that's an obvious one. And then if we're thinking of moving house, where are we moving to? I mean, this feels like a good place to move, but we're already set up now. We've done that movement. Let's leave this sacred site here. And I suppose this presence in the Blight is actually kind of potentially useful. This is not something we necessarily want to leave undefended. We could put a presence in here. We need to make sure we've got the adjacency. Oh yeah, for blooming, we do already have that. I think I'm happy with these other placements. Okay, so we're ignoring disease that we don't have. We're getting some defend that we don't need. Vitality gone. 4 builds in the sands, and they're going to drag a town out. Let's drag out from this jungle because of the cascade and I need to make sure to not cascade into the big ravages, so we'll make that future one a little bit smaller. Now, this is a situation where I'm highly likely to forget Dark Entangled Woods, so I think I will be doing innates first. So what's our gather like? Wow, okay, that's pretty nice. We can gather the Explorer town out of this mountain, which is pretty good. I think keeping the city count low is valuable. It's valuable, gives us that chance to win at Terra 3. Lovely stuff. Okay, so we have the big Ravage here, so that's a fairly straightforward pick. And it's Ravage into build, so yeah, we're probably just gonna... I mean, maybe I move house into this land. We do have a broken presence as well. I'll probably leave it here. Though, actually, this is... We could, if we put the broken presence in this sands, then we can just defend there with Entwine, which saves sap. Obviously, sap is a bit more expensive, but this is more an element. I'm thinking of moving to the coast. Okay, so we put the extra presents in here. And, okay, these are more interesting. Insatiable Hunger of the Swarm is pretty nice against Habsburgs, because we're placing the blight we need to destroy towns. So that's kind of tempting. It's going to be near impossible for us to threshold, but that's fine. Tiger's Hunting is a personal favourite, but it doesn't mean it's good. It's some relatively affordable fast fear. Hunger's also a plant card, which is pretty relevant, and an air card, which helps for sap. I think if we get Insatiable Hunger as a potential finisher, that could be good. What the hell are we forgetting, though? Weave Together is also in that impossible to threshold kind of camp. And we need to combo with something, another major, to really do it, so I think I'm going to rule it out for that reason. And Storm Swathe is... no, not appetizing. It's either of these animal powers. Tiger's Hunting, for example, here we could reduce the town count and add a beast to the board and generate 2 fear. Even just tactically, I quite like that. And then this becomes a 4 damage ravage next turn, which we can deal with Dark Entangled Woods or Entwine pretty easily. This currently is only a 2 damage. I think maybe, are we forgetting Sap, really? One of the best defend cards in the game. Maybe I am. Except it does have the animal element for this probably irrelevant threshold. Yeah, this is a finisher, and we are far from that point. Let's take Tiger's Hunting, and this is a tough choice. I feel like this being on element is pretty relevant. But this is so specific. But that 2 fast fear is, I'd say, is pretty relevant. But we're on a budget. Let's just get rid of this. And this also means we might be able to skip the reclaim this turn. Okay, Vitality, and that is only a 2 damage ravage. So we can defend it with either of these. So we could actually... yeah, skipping the reclaim is valuable as well, because it means we can actually move house. So, I think moving to one of the... I mean, this is the obvious land. The trouble is we won't have a Sacred Site this turn if we move here, because there's no presence there already. So I think we are moving to this jungle back where we started. Yeah, it's not as ideal as being here because this is massively built up. I'm wondering whether it's worth going there even though we won't have a Sacred Site straight away. We're having a pretty on-element turn, potentially. We'll have 2 Sun, 2 Moon if we pick Entwine. 2 Sun, 2 Moon. Actually, the second Moon is unlikely to be relevant. So maybe we could go with Sap and save some energy. We'll have Sun, Moon. But we'll be short on plants unless we go Entwine. Unless we go all out bottom track. I think that would be a mistake. Okay, so I'm going to move here. I guess it depends what our minor power is. We do have 3 plays as well. Ooh, Sky's Herald is interesting. We don't have a Broken Presence. It's also kind of perfect on element for our remove power, which is good. It's good. And we will be able to use it this turn. And we can push Blight around with this. Wow. Wow. And it has this. We'll get to do very little with this power. I mean, we could use it for sniping explorers. Wow, is it really the time for Sky's Herald? It could well be. This also means that we've got more ways of putting our broken presence back on the board, which means we're a bit more comfortable going into a blighted island. And we do have the 3 plays. I think I'm doing it. Yeah, let's do it. So we are moving to here. The thing is, although how on element is our turn? It's if we play all 3 of these, we are doing really well for elements. We'll have 2 plants, so actually no, we'll be able to gather and explore and move a town. That is pretty valuable. But it's not that valuable compared to not losing. And this is massively built up already. This is not that built up. We have cards that could deal with it. So I think I will move house into here. But the trouble we then have is that if I use this to place a vitality, I actually basically am going to be having a 0, just playing this that turn, which is a little bit grim. But we can get away with that, I think, because we will get to gain a power. We will deal with this, which is our kind of big loss threat. Okay, I'm doing it. So I'm going to move over here. God, I wonder if going plant is right here. It'll mean that we'll have access to these 3 plant levels, which means we can drag towns out, which means we could actually address this land as well, because they'll build a town, they'll drag a town, we could drag explorer a town, and then this becomes a 4 damage ravage rather than a 6 damage ravage, which is a lot safer. No, I think that's lunacy. I think we value having some energy. Okay, let's move. Yeah, we move. And we are going to be... a little skeptical again now. Okay, so we do want to defend in here. So we don't care about our innate, so we'll use sap to just to save an energy. And we are playing to vitality next turn. So I think actually we hang on to these because next turn we'll be able to actually use our innate. So I think we don't play these because we can't really... I suppose we could use the gather aspect of it, but I'm not really that fussed about the gather. I'd rather just do work on this land next turn. I don't think thresholding this is actually valuable, especially this turn. So I think, what a funky turn. How funky does it need to be? That's going to keep our town count somewhat lower. This counteract should clear this land, so I think I'll put this B somewhere where it should potentially generate some fear, which is in here, which it's not going to destroy anything there. No, I'll put it here so that it might be gatherable. Okay, we're adding a town to coastal land without cities, apparently. Well, I'm not happy with that. So that means that they'll build a city here. And then they'll drag this town will be dead. They'll drag one of these towns in. So we'll be then looking at a big ravage here, when I was hoping not to have that problem. Adding a town here means that we now have a city being built this turn, and the same problem. Awful. What an awful business. Fine. Okay, so we can push... we can push this town out thanks to smaller ports. So I think we do that. We push it into this hilariously built-up land. Yeah, we don't get... If we could kill it here, we'd do that, but we can't, so we won't. Okay. Okay, we can gather a town into coastal land. We'll not do that. Okay, so we have this. Takes care of that. That's pretty nice. And wow, that's very luxurious. Habsburgs are going to add a town because they are awful people. Where do we put it? Maybe in with the beast. We don't want extra ravages to deal with, so yeah, I still don't have a feel for this. You know, often when you play into a certain adversary a lot, you just kind of know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm going to put this here, and this can go with the other beast. And the wave of immigration I had not calculated for either. So there is a ravage next turn. This at least is worth counterattacking, which does count for something. Yeah, we'll go with that logic. And then they're adding town to 3 different inland lands. Have they no shame? Put you in there. Okay, so we have a 6 damage ravage in this land, which we can address with Entwine if we put the presence in there. But then we won't get our we won't get access to our innate. Oh, but we will, because we get to do this. Except, yeah, we do have a, because we moved house, we have a broken presence. Well, okay. And we also get to gain another card. So Sky's Herald here. Interesting. I like using these odd cards. But feels like you very rarely get to use them. Ooh. Okay, we've been offered some interesting stuff here. Call to trade. It's very interesting. We've already got a Dahan land set up here. We are miles away from Terra 3. So we could just use that to address this. We do have a lovely counterattack this turn, though. If we use Call to Trade to address this, it means we could put the presence here, though. And that would mean that we could start using our innate and generating fear that way. Elemental Boon in Multi-Spirit is a must pick. It's not quite the case here, though we have gone plays. I think the luxury of playing Boon with a major is a little bit far off. I think we go Call to Trade. I think we go Call to Trade and we start using our innate, because I think with a good, if we hit our innate, so making a sacred site here, then we could actually address this jungle nonsense, and this solves this land twice without us having to use our vitality resources, which is pretty good. Okay, we'll do that. So we'll add a presence in here to make a sacred site, and we're going to go towards having a bit more energy, because yeah, Call to Trade also is one that costs us. So we have an Entwine that I might just be playing for elements. So this will give us the plant and 2 more tiers of this, which is pretty good. I could just use Sky's Herald somewhere that has a counterattack for the sake of the event deck, which might cause a random ravage. But that feels pretty good. We've got Explorer Town Gather, so we can gather out of this jungle and solve that land for next turn. So I'm pretty happy with that. And oh, I also got to do this. So I didn't need to place in there. So I could have placed this in a more interesting way, in a more useful spot. I think I'm going to be camped out here for a while, given that this is so built up. So I'm not going to be thinking about moving house. Yeah, let's not worry about that. We'll Call to Trade in there. Oh, we get to gather a town as well. I always think this is such a powerful card. So, okay, let's gather out of this town. No, we do have a... Yeah, let's gather out of this town. And... we'll Sky's Herald. Oh, we Sky's Herald in a land. So, we are going to be dragging presence out of here. I think maybe I just put the extra presence in here because this is potentially a counterattack at some point. I suppose this is also potentially a counterattack if we get tired of call to trade. But I think we're just kind of postponing our problems a little bit here. And I'm not going to gather into there. Oh no, I am going to gather into there. Okay, so we'll entwine and we'll do it in here, just in case. Okay, so we're adding Explorer into a land with Blight and Beasts. Oh god. Each land with buildings. Nasty. Are they going to kill one of my Dahan here? Damn it! Okay, so I can push a town into here to get kind of roughhoused. So I think I might do that. Push it in here. I suppose I could save my Dahan there. That's pretty brutal. Yeah, losing a Dahan there is a bit sad, but we will get this town here. Damn it. Damn it. This is just not something I play around. We can get rid of an Explorer. Yeah, this is grim, losing this many Dahan like this. Okay, we can push an Explorer town for land not matching a build. So they're going to drag a town into here regardless, so there's not really much point in pushing these around. Oh, that's annoying. There's an extra Explorer in there. I suppose I could push this town into here, so it's adjacent to this. Yeah, let's do that. Damn it, the extra Explorer there is... Oh, no. Don't push it into the Ravaged Pheasant. Don't do that. That's terrible. Okay, so we have Call to Trade in here, and we use our Vitality token there. And Habsburg are gathering a town. I guess we gather it from here. Just keep this massive stack here, and they are going to gather... Oh yeah, so we're far from solving that. Oh, pheasant. Oh, pheasant. So maybe up here. No, we'll do it down here. And up here. Yeah, it's one of those things when I'm playing against new to me stuff. I just, none of it feels fluent yet. Okay, we can reduce the town count a little bit by dragging this Explorer out. Or we could reduce this Ravage down to a 5, which is much more reasonable. So, oh, maybe this is a Tigers hunting situation. Yeah, okay, we'll gather... Do we want to gather this Dahan in here? Ah, we have a big nasty Ravage in there. This might be we might be letting this go. This is such a it's a funny match. It feels like you should maybe with a more experienced player with both Roots and Habsburgs. This is easy, but I am not finding it that way at all. Okay, so this is a 5 damage Ravage. There are adjacent towns, and this is a lot. This is a 14 damage Ravage. Oh yeah. Oh no. I gathered in a Dahan when the whole point was that I didn't do that. I'm going to undo that. That's critical. My whole plan revolves around leaving this Dahan in there. So let's not drag that Dahan out. Silly pheasant. Okay. So yeah. I thought something was wonky there. I was like, where's this big Ravage come from? And I did actually have a plan for it. Okay, so we have a little Ravage here, 5 damage Ravage there, and a big one here. So we can afford to play our 3 cards this turn, even if we don't go energy. But I think probably I'll be squeezing in a Boon of Resilient Power if possible. So Though we don't have any broken presence right now. Oh, interestingly, I can very easily threshold Tigers hunting this turn. And that would mean... Actually, no. I'd have to be playing Sky's Herald. I'm not sure that really does a lot for us. The nice thing about the threshold is it means I could clear this town and again reduce the town count on the island. I don't know if that's worth it. I think it's definitely worth playing it again just for in here to get the fear deck going. And we're already committed to call to trade in here. And then we have this ravage in here. This is the safer defend, and it's cheaper. The trouble with preventing this town build here is there will still be a town in there, of course, so they will drag one in. And the trouble there is, yeah, we haven't really addressed anything. We do want to be gaining a major as soon as possible. And we're not at the stage where fear cards really do anything. And there are so many towns on the board that is having one fewer town, is that really making a difference? Whereas Boon of Resilient Power should mean that we do get to do some of this. No simple decisions, and wow, there's going to be so many cities up here. Yeah, we definitely need to grab a major to actually do something about all this. It's getting a bit beyond Tigers hunting at this point. But yeah, I definitely encourage anyone to try this match. It's a funky one. It feels like it's far from the shoe-in. Is that the right term? The shoe-in that you'd expect it to be. Okay, so we've got to push some towns out. Okay, so they were in here, and now they're going to get pushed out. Marvellous. So yeah, I don't think there's a decision to make here. Okay, so Dahana only doing 1 damage ravage, we don't care. So that's defended, and that is building a third city. Okay, and then they are gathering towns. So I suppose I'm going to leave this town in here. God, this is awful. These Dahan might jostle this town. Yeah, do that. Then this. Crikey, this really does not look good. If you've spotted an obviously better way of playing some of this, do let me know. I'm trying not to encourage people to comment misplays too much because I don't always have the spoons to go through them all. Okay, so we'll move a town in here. So that is it is a single blight and it is a loss condition blight. This is 4, 5, 6, 7, so any damage boost would mean that if we let this all go, we would lose. That's not what we want. So I think I'm tempted to... Actually, I could use Call to Trade in here, but that's just adding so many towns to the board. We could actually just let this one blight. And what that would mean, though, is I'm forced to reclaim. Oh, crikey. This is really kind of getting out of control. Okay, let's drag a town into here and explore out of there. And we'll gain ourselves a major power. Okay, Twisted Flowers is pretty powerful. Perfect elements. And I mean perfect, not just a few of our elements, all of our elements. We're not quite at Terra level 2 yet, but I think we will immediately be at Terra level 2. And okay, that could be what we're using. Yeah, I think that's how we do it. And I'm not going to, I will take no further questions. I think we still value Call to Trade cheese though, so I don't think we get rid of that. Though we are the tricky thing for thresholding flowers is the moon. That's the thing. We don't have moon on our tracks. I suppose from next turn on we'll get extra plant, so we'll be able to play these moon cards that aren't plant, i.e. Tigers Hunting. So what do I forget? Probably something that doesn't have moon. Call to Trade really has been our get out of jail free card. And we can actually really just try and rinse through the fear deck now we've got Twisted Flowers though. It's Sky's Herald. Is that the time for you to go? I mean, if we're using flowers, we are not thresholding tigers. So I think maybe let this go. Not a straightforward decision. I guess we can skip the reclaim and we can forget one of these. Next turn. Oh, I wanted to use Call to Trade next turn anyway. We have Jungle and Sand build. We could use Twisted Flowers in here next turn. And that should deal with this land because we could Strife. It's overkill. It's overkill in there. But really, I think we just have to win with fear now. So I think next turn, so we're reclaiming. We'll Call to Trade. We'll let this go. So we want to use this next turn. So what do we forget? Do we just skip out on Boon of Resilient Power now that we have? I think enough in the tank. Yeah. Yeah. Nothing. I never feel confident in this matchup. Okay. Given that we have flowers, I think we want to go to 6 energy, and we'll make this into a sacred site. Or sorry, a sacred site underneath already is a sacred site underneath there. So we are Call to Trade. We are flowers. And I think to threshold yes, the moon issue. So we can't threshold this unless we play all 3 of our current plays on moon. The island is still healthy though. We probably could do with allowing some more blight. Without thresholding flowers, it's still generating a lot of fear. And it's still removing 2 invaders and adding a strife. So we'll address this land next turn. I think. So what else are we playing? We're going to let this blight deliberately. I think we actually kind of want a blighted island. Are we... Yeah, God, there's going to be so many. There's going to be so many invaders on this board. I suppose we could actually start using tigers, building up Tigers Hunting in somewhere like this jungle. And this is going to be maybe we bloom in there. I mean, we do have almost fully done our innates, which is pretty good. This is obviously horrible, so we can put a vitality token down in here. And maybe we could just plonk a vitality token down here next turn. And then we've got relatively much smaller problems to deal with. Though this is also going to be massive. Oh dear. Yeah, this is funky. This is really funky. We'll leave you in there for the counterattack potentially. And we'll leave this in there potentially for a future Call to Trade. Because we've already had Cultural Assimilation. We can prevent mounding even more towns onto the board, though, by dragging this in. Okay, we're not generating fear for destroying buildings. Joke's on you, we're not destroying buildings anyway. Okay, we're adding some disease in. A nice little detail I like is having my disease in with my house, because then my Dahan don't die. We've already Call to Traded in here, so I think we can lose the Dahan. And so we do gain an energy. Okay, we get to remove... Round and round we go. Okay. Okay, so it's a call to trade in here and a blight there. And we're into stage 3 and we are just so far away from winning anything. Where are you gathering into? I guess it must be this one. I feel like having an empty land is not a nice little luxury. So yeah, maybe we'll have an empty land. And now they are going to gather. Let's go with having empty lands. Okay, sand and wetland. Yeah, we really need to generate a lot of fear to deal with all this nonsense. Okay, this is going to be a 4, 6, 8 damage ravage. So if we put another presence in there, we can defend it and counter with Entwine, which is decent. We've got 2 removes here. And we can gather us, explore a town city. Unfortunately, that's not enough to remove this from our consideration. Let's just do the remove towns thing first. I suppose we also have flowers at Terra. So we just get to... I always have to think this through. We add a strife and then we remove 2 invaders. We will be at Terra 2 once this happens. So strife and removing 2 invaders, does that actually solve any of these lands? Feels silly not to just remove 2 cities from here though. Let's be real. Though we are going to need to do something about this land anyway. Strife and removing 2 invaders in here, we could remove 2 towns, strife, but we still have a 3 damage ravage in there, so it doesn't solve that jungle. We've got a counterattack here, so I think we leave that alone. And we've got this ravage here. I think so. I'm going to put a vitality token in here. So I think we vitality in here. Feels like a shame that we actually can't really do anything that addresses these. And I will. So do we just go for removing cities from the coast because we are hoping to win at the start of Terra 3? Christ. It's so far away. We also have the option to reclaim our call to trade. But then we won't get to place a vitality token in here. I guess the other issue is that this ravage is going to be an 8 damage ravage, and we can't defend both of these. So I guess we are kind of forced to use this in here. That feels terrible. But it is at least generating us a bunch of fear. So let's not get too... Oops, I've done that a little bit wrong. Because it adds the strife first. So we'll remove the 2 towns. Yeah, that doesn't feel great. But we do have sap here next turn. Okay, and then we have the gather. So actually we could gather the explorer out of there. Okay, that's not terrible. We'll gather... Do we bring this Dahan in? Yes, we do, because it's going to die. So let's not do that. Let's gather in the non-strifed explorer, and given that wetlands is coming up, we'll gather that town out. And we can gather a city, so I think because we can, and this is our house, so I think we do that. Okay, so this actually has been dealt with. This we are going to defend, and we're going to put a vitality in here. We're going to have 7 energy this turn, so we could look at another major. Though no obvious thing to forget here, really. I know some of you are looking at Sky's Herald, but you would be wrong. I think, yeah, we need a... I think we will probably be forgetting Sky's Herald. Let's see what major we get offered. Ooh, fun monsters. Now, that really works in terms of generating vast amounts of fear, and we can actually generate... We can kind of start setting that up this turn. So we are making a sacred site there. what are we actually doing this turn? That's solved. That's vitality. That will have vitality. That's defended. So our only real commitments this turn are to entwine. So we could actually use Tiger's hunting to because it's gather, add, gather, push 2. So yeah, we could actually set up to just generate a bunch of fear on the coast and destroy these 2 cities. If we go sea monsters, tigers, entwine, I feel like that must be our best bet. This is perfectly on element though, but also I think irrelevant. I guess the future is not looking right. Unless we can really race through this fear deck, and this is our best shot at that. This does have Dahan though, so we can cheese this for the next Ravage. These wetlands are looking pretty bleak though. Yeah. Yeah, we are very much in YOLO territory, despite this being an S tier match apparently. According to the evil genius. Okay, so we need this presence in here for our entwine, and then we monsters hunting. Do we actually get anything here? We do get to remove a town. I suppose the other thing we could be thinking about is a future turn where we move house and monsters in here. Okay. Okay, so if there are three sea monsters after we've pushed 2, I'm just wondering whether to target this in here to damage stuff in there or not. I think probably just removing explorers is reasonable. I suppose we could make this Ravage safer, which does have some value. Because yeah, because currently it's an 8 damage. Yeah, I think we do that. These explorers aren't really doing anything. So we could gather this one in, take out a couple of explorers, and then we could push these into here. And we can entwine into here, so that should be good. Okay, what do we get? In each land with at least 2 towns, replace half of them with cities. Oh god. Oh no. I mean, actually, that works out really well for us. So that's fine. So yeah, more cities for the sea monsters. This actually makes this counterattack better. Well. And they're skipping Ravages with Strife. Oh, that's good. We get to keep our Strife token there. And these are getting pushed out of there, that is a shame. That really is. Okay, we're adding a Strife to a different land with at least 2 invaders. So we do have the event. So this is actually critical here. We have the event where they do not ravage in lands with Strife. So we can preserve our vitality token here. So preserving our vitality here versus destroying a town on the counter here. This jungle isn't coming up immediately. We're going to get to kill 3 cities in here with sea monsters. So the damage doesn't do anything. I think killing the town here is relevant. No, actually no, there just won't be a ravage. So we won't get to kill this city. I think maybe preserving the vitality token is okay. Yeah, I think that's good. That means we don't need to. So there won't be a ravage in there, and we will keep that city alive. Remove and explore a town from land with beast disease or at least 2 Dahan. We could do that to reduce the town count. Given that this is a land that I'm going to be splatting repeatedly with sea monsters, I think I will just do that. Okay, this ravage should be cancelled because of the strife. This has a vitality token. And we do 2 damage here. I don't think we have any slow damage, so this doesn't really matter. This could have been. This might well have been a mistake trying to preserve this. I mean, it has immediately come up, so I feel somewhat vindicated. We have an explorer and a town gather. I think actually the sea monsters is the no-brainer thing, so I'll do that first. Okay. Oh no! God damn it. I strongly prefer the classic board because I often find it hard to understand what's going on the 3D board. Can sometimes be a little bit funky. Okay, that's looking good. We are. It's kind of a shame about all these extra cities that have shown up, but we roll with the punches here at Pheasant HQ. Okay, so this is a 4/7 9 damage ravage. So if we use Entwine again, it's a risky ravage. So we could just gather this Dahan back in for a counterattack. This ravage here is actually a 3 damage ravage. We could deliberately let that go. I kind of want a Blighted Island, to be honest, though I have got rid of both of my Get Presents Back cards. But we do have a lot of presents on the island. This... Yeah. Oh. We do have this ravage here. So that kind of... Oh dear. Have I not thought far enough ahead here? That's kind of bad. And I can't even do the trick because there's only one Dahan there. So I can't gather in, let them blight the land, and then counter. So yeah, okay, this is defending this has become incredibly low priority. So oh, okay, if we reclaim, we can use our old friend Call to Trade in here. So we reclaim, we call to trade, we entwine in here. We let this one go, and this is just a big sad ravage, I guess. And it is ravage into build, so we do need to do something about this. It is in a wetland, so there is sea monsters potential there. And we're nearly 4 plays, which will give us all sorts of luxuries. Let's take the counterattack in here. Let's reduce this. Oh, wait. Have we made this impossible? 3, 4, 8. Yeah, we need to actually place another presence in there, but that's fine. So we're forced to reclaim. And we are not at 4 plays yet. And we're probably running out of game as well. Yes. We are indeed running out of game. And we are far from Terra 3, and there are mountains of cities on the board. Mountains, but we do have... Once we get to... yeah, I think we just might not have done enough. Okay, so this ravage is fine. This is defended. This we can call to trade and build another city. Good God. Yeah. And then we only have a singular play. We can use it to generate a ludicrous amount of fear in here, though. And they are building there, so they'll be building a town and bringing another town in. Though it's not blighted. So that does mean... I'd feel more confident if I could just generate 7 fast fear. Do I have a way of generating 7 fast fear? Quick. Tigers is 2, and that's about it for fast fear. The fast fear, upgrading this number of fear cards would do a lot of work potentially. Okay, so this is a lost condition blight, and I don't have a good solution. This is also a lost condition blight as well. So yeah, we have to do something about at least one of these. This will not be thresholded because of the shortage of moons. So I think just in terms of raw fear output, this is the key. I suppose the event might push the beasts around, which might mean we get to change our mind about this. Yeah, that doesn't feel good at all. And I feel like the event could just wreck us completely, but I think this is what we have. Okay, so we do gather a town out of there, and we entwine in here. Let's see what we get. Each down does +1 damage. Oof. That's unfortunate. That's 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12 here. So we need help. Oh, but this... Okay. Explorers are, getting destroyed. And we are adding a Dahan somewhere. So we need help in this land. So, okay. Okay, we can skip builds. And we can isolate as well, so that's pretty good. This is actually the one land we don't care about them going in, so we could just isolate this land. So that's one fewer ravage to think about. I think these are both equally bad, equally problematic. This one has more adjacencies, so I think maybe I will isolate that one. Remove a town. Okay, so we've survived this. And now we actually have the ravage. Okay, so they've built in there. We do get to generate a bit more fear in here, and they do a catastrophic, a big, whatever it's called, irreparable damage. Okay, and now they are gathering. So yeah, I can gather that one. We have problems. We didn't get any freebie beast moves, which is kind of what I was hoping for in here. So I think we have to just smash this for fear. Because by the time once you've added the 4th beast, that'll be 8 fear, and then should destroy everything in there. Actually, maybe it won't destroy everything. Almost everything in there. So we're looking at a lot of fear. Okay, this is I like to try and just do the no-brainer things first. So we did get lucky here. We don't have to worry about this ravage. This is only a 5 damage ravage. This, though, is lost condition. I think we are forced to try and address this somehow. It's, what is it? It's 10, 13, 17 damage ravage. If we were to see monsters in there, it would not really impact that at all. So I guess we could drag a singular explorer out there, but maybe just reducing the overall count might be more valuable. So I think this is the right play, even though this is dealt with. I think just generating that much fear is pretty valuable. And we kill the cities again just to generate fear. And yeah, it doesn't actually clear the land. But that's another... Okay, 4 Terror Level 3 fear cards is possibly enough. How many to eviction? Okay, 3 fast fear. We've got 2 fast fear. But this is loss. I don't think there's anything that would have gained us more fear this turn. So yeah, are we kind of... Oh, wait. We can Tigers Hunting in here to finish. See, I told you Tigers Hunting was good. Yeah, we don't care about this. We're not doing that. Okay, well, that's... Yeah, Tigers Hunting for the win and a stack of 4 animals. Well... that was far from easy. I feel like this is a really fun one though. A really fun match and really interesting match. I think you've kind of got all sorts of options for dealing with it. I think maybe I should have let more blight down. I think that helps reduce the town count. I think maybe kind of doing call to trade cheese is quite a useful trick. And with roots, you've got that extra Dahan movement. Flowers did contribute 4 fear and did help with the land. I mean, the island's still healthy. But that typically when the island's healthy, you think, oh, that means you're not playing on hard enough difficulty. What a weird one. What a strange game. And yeah, we're also just running out of time. That was our, only one more slow phase. Interesting. That was an interesting one. I've played this match a few times since seeing it pop up on Reddit, and yeah, I am still somewhat baffled as to how to really tackle it effectively. I'm glad that I was vindicated about my choice to pick Tiger Song. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you like the video, and I'll catch you on the next one.